All right, so happy New Year's to everybody out there. This your girl Tiffany. I'm here live in effect. And so today I want to really get into the most important topic. I think that we really all need to get into the subject about talking about health more often, more than anything else, because it's very significant for our community, right? And one of the most important things that I want to get into is the concept about meditation. Now, there's people who got this misconception that meditation is pretty much pseudo. People like throwing the word pseudo around so much, right? But it's a lot of health benefits to it as well. And there's research that has been studied on about meditation. Okay. So before I get started, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, share the channel, and all that great stuff. So let's get on to it. All right, let's get on to the New Year's. All right, so I've been away for a while because of some personal things that I won't go into as of right now, but I will eventually. And this is one of the things that we really need to talk about. We need to really get into the concept about health, not just overall health, period. All right, now some people may not like meditation, and that's fine. That's okay. But there are those who need it. Like there are those who really need meditation because if you don't meditate, then how would you be able to learn how to stay focused? How would you learn how to be able to gain some type of inner peace with yourself? See, people do these things because they care more about their health, not just the mental health, but the physical health as well. They care about that, and there are people who there are people who have stopped taking medication because they went through the process of meditating. So that's how much benefits it has. So what I want to do is I want to share the articles, right? Okay, so the first article that I am going to share here is the one about the cultural relevance of mindful meditation. And the reason why I'm posting this article up is because we need a study on how meditation benefits the African American community. So let me show you what the article has to say. Let me go ahead and lay this out real quick. All right, so right here in this article by ncbi.nlm.nih.gov, which stands for National Library of Medicine and the National Center for Biotech Information, right? Okay. So right here, the article came out in 2014. It says the cultural relevance of mindful meditation as health intervention for African Americans. All right. By Cheryl L. Woods, Jacombe, and Susan A. Gaylord, right? So it goes in to talk about African American experience disproportionate rates of mobility and mortality in response to stress-related health conditions, including cardiovascular disease, adverse birth outcome, obesity, and diabetes when compared to their European American counterparts. Okay. It says, which may be due to their history and social economic position in American society. Race-related stress in particular influence health behaviors, health status, and disease risk. Daily and chronic exposure to racism-related stressors and socioeconomic vulnerability are identified as affecting health in African Americans. So evidence highlights mechanism of action between stress and adverse health outcomes. And then goes on to say, we theorize that mindful meditation, which has been shown to lower stress in others, might be a good way to lower stress in African Americans. In this study, we asked 15 African Americans who already practice mindful meditation what they felt about its possible acceptance and a capability in addressing stress in African Americans. All right, so Now it goes on to talk about psychological stress can also influence engagement in health promoting behaviors. Perceived stress adversely influences adherence to medical advice to increase healthy behaviors. In addition, certain dysfunctional health behaviors are stress related. Then it goes down to talk about the needs for solution. So it says research on health disparity has focused mostly on epidemiological and biopsychosocial data to identify causes of inequities and pathways through which psychosocial factors, including stress, influence health. Emphasis should be shifted to identify intervention to prevent and ameliorate stress related health disparities, although approaches that focus on political advocacy and large scale governmental reform are useful and efficacious. Individuals or community level approaches have been shown to influence optimal well being, self efficacy, coping, and resilience to minimize physiological stress reactivity. All right, so as we can see here, right, there has been studies that's been shown that people who get into meditation find it very useful and beneficial, right? Okay. So they go into the sample and all of that. So now the interview question are the experiences or practices similar to mindful meditation that are part of African American culture. And here's the main one. So I'm going to highlight it. It says prayer was the most commonly mentioned cultural practice that had similarities to mindful meditation. Participant mentioned the overlap between being still during prayer to try to listen to what God is telling you and the stillness that is encouraged in mindful meditation practice. Participant also mentioned that prayer and mindful meditation seem to provide similar benefits, including mental clarity and tranquility. One participant mentioned the similarity between mindful meditation and centering or contemplative prayer. Others note similarities between mindful meditation, present moment awareness, and the experience of getting the spirit in church, which was described as being emotionally and physically and spiritually engulfed into the present experience of worship. All right, so if you guys didn't know, right, that prayer is a form of meditation because when you're not just praying to the higher power, right, you're pretty much praying for clarity to get your mind clear, to be able to get past your circumstances and your issues. So one of these days I'm gonna get into the subject about neurotheology because neurotheology helps explain all of this. However, when you get into that moment by yourself, you asking that higher self, subconsciously speaking, you might think you're talking to an invisible God, but you're really asking that higher self to be able to calm you down and be able to get you through your day and be able to give you some type of understanding or show you what is going on around you. All right. So we all express ourselves. I use the expression, Lord Jesus Christ, Lord, I'm tired today. Oh my goodness, get me through this day. That is an expression. That's a habit because I grew up in a Christian church. So I have a habit of saying that, right? However, that is a way to get me through my day. It's a way to get me through whatever is going on with me, right? Whatever situation, because stress is a serious thing and it can lead to major health issues, including high blood pressure. It can. So you got to be careful how you stress and what you're stressing about. Because some things ain't even worth stressing on. And there's certain things that you do put your energy into it, but you have to take it easy at the same time. All right. So when anytime people make arguments and say things like, oh, health is or meditation is pseudo, then you have to ask them, well, how did you come down to that conclusion? What other alternatives do you have for those who may be going through something in their personal lives? How do you what do you give them as far as solution wise to get them through their day? And it's particularly those who are non-religious, right? Particularly those who don't get into the concept of spirituality. Normally it be atheists that say things like this, that meditation is not useful and it's pseudo, where you have to explain how and what type of solution would you give to a person that's going through something. If you can't explain that, then that's just your opinion. That's your opinion. So you cannot even, and don't say that you can use science, right? Unless you can use science that argue against it, because there's scientific sources that argue for it, and I just presented one up here, right? Now, again, this article is called The Cultural Relevance of Mindful Meditation as a Health Innovation for African Americans. So now, let's look up another source. Check this out. So anytime somebody walk around and say things like, oh, that is not beneficial, it's falsified, meditation is not scientific, this, thing, other, okay, just show them this. Benefits of Yoga and Meditation in Communities of Colors by Cheryl X. Grant. All right, this came out on October the 15th of 2020. And this comes from the website called verywellmind.com. And it says, ways of dealing with depression and fear that can come from loneliness and anxiety may seem obvious. Therapy, medication, meditation, and yoga, but wellness practice aren't always accessible. They may at times come with a negative stigma. Such is the case in communities of colors. So it says the National Council for Behavioral Health states that though 20% Black Americans are more likely to report psychological distress than whites, they are less likely to seek treatment and stick to it. So it says, mindset coach Jennifer Henderson highly recommends speaking with a therapist. I call mine a professional friend. So I love talking to her, gaining a deep perspective on topics, and felt good knowing that I was taking care of me, she says. All right. So and then it goes on to talk about the effects of COVID-19. It says, for many, the coronavirus pandemic didn't just change working conditions, but also isolate people from human contact, which can negatively affect our psyches. In fact, in a paper published in the Journal of Trends in Cognitive Sciences, it was found that having strong interpersonal relationship is critical for our survival. Additionally, social isolation can impact how we reason, memory, performance, precipitation, the onset of disease like Alzheimer's, as well as our ability to recover. The effects of loneliness on our immune systems during the pandemic can be a predictor of how well we battle viruses. And though our loneliness didn't just begin with COVID-19, social distancing and quarantines made it more commonplace, which can undoubtedly be a challenge, especially in the communities of color. Here are 5 people of color who are inspiring others to heal by focusing on their mental and physical health. So you got the list of people right here. One is an intuitive sound practitioner, Jackie Palmer. All right. Then you got Jennifer Henderson. All right. You got, I'm not going to go into the names, but just showing the list. All right. But again, this is this website, and it shows you that the benefit of yoga and meditation in community of colors. And these are different practitioners, right? If you notice, they are African American women. And you can find them on Instagram if you want to learn more. Okay, very important. So again, anytime somebody comes to you and say stuff like that, you got to distance yourself from individuals who don't offer any type of solution to how you go about your daily issues. Because those people can bring you down and have a negative impact on you. So we cannot allow certain individuals to discourage us from getting involved in meditation and yoga. All right. Now, here's a book that I recommend people to get. It's called Black and Buddhist. All right, so this book came out in 2020. So right now I'm looking at the preview. So right here it says Introduction Buddhism as a Path of Trauma Resilient for Anti-Racism Activists by Pamela Ayo Yatunde and Cheryl A. Giles. Right. So check this out. It says Buddhism is a way of life, a philosophy, a psychology, a set of ethic, a religion, or a combination thereof. Central to the many ways Buddhism is understood is the achievement of emotional, mental, and psychological wellness. African Americans are at perpetual risk of psychological imbalance and trauma due to the social reality of racism in the United States. What could Buddhism offer African Americans who want to be emotionally resilient in a context they cannot single-handedly change? So it says many African Americans who grew up learning little about Buddhism and perhaps mostly associated with Asian or with white Americans may find it surprising to think of Buddhism as pertinent to their lives and struggles. Yet the roots of the tradition shows us that exactly what it is. Buddhism emerged from a caste-oriented culture in which a powerful man of color renounced his power, woke up to his delusion, grew in compassion, and committed himself to teaching a way of life for all to awaken. His teaching at their root were caste disoriented. In other words, Buddhism is a path to decast or decolonize one's mind while simultaneously helping oneself build resilience against trauma. And then it goes on to say that more than 2,500 years ago, near what is now the border of India and Nepal, a system of mental wellness was being developed to support oppressed people's desire to live with more freedom, happiness, and balance. The system is now called the Noble Eightfold Path, which is referred to as the path hereafter. Studies have shown that implementing the path supports psycho-spiritual resilience against prejudice, oppression, alienation, and trauma. And it goes on to talk about what is the path. To understand the path is to help understand the four conclusions the economically and politically privileged Siddhartha Gautama, right, which is the historical man of color who became known as Buddha, the Awakened One, came to after years of undertaking ascetic practices to try to avoid human fragility. So, one, suffering is real and shared throughout humanity. Two, there are discernible causes for this suffering. Three, causes can be transformed and terminated. Four, the way to transform and terminate the causes is through the path. So it says this fourfold formula is known in Buddhism as the Four Noble Truths, referred to as truth hereafter, right? And it says the last truth is divided into 8-part system: right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. In this introduction, we describe what each aspect of the Eightfold Path means and can mean for African Americans as they engage in anti-racist work and in the necessary struggle to maintain their own well-being. All right, so again, this comes from the title of this book right here, Black and Buddhist: What Buddhism Can Teach Us About Race, Resilience, and Transformation and Freedom. All right, so for me, I don't really get into too much of Buddhism And I have nothing against it, but my preference is more so a Taoism. So personally, I use Taoism. I take some African spiritual principle from the Ifa, right? And I also incorporate Sufism doctrine and pantheism, which deals with the aspect of science, all that in combination to be able to understand and to be able to deal with and cope with life in itself. All right. So I have some books that I think people should look into, check out. So one of the books, like I said, is Black and Buddhist. Okay. And what I was reading is the preview from Google. But people should also make sure they check out this book right here by Queen Afua. So it's called Heal Thyself for Health and Longevity. Very important book. Now, some people may argue about her and her work, but at the same time, there's been people who has been initiated, who has went through her class, who done went through her program, and pretty much she has known to improve the lives of so many people. Her and her son, Supernova Slum. So Supernova Slum got a book called Man Heal Thyself. And I think that it's important that you guys get that book. Now, there's an older version of the book, and this one is the newer version. But you guys need to get that book. So, yeah, they really known to do a lot of work to help brothers and sisters in the community. So, in this book, she really got like home remedies in here that people can get into. Okay. And she talks about the importance of detox and whatnot. So let's look at this. It says a cry for world healing. And she goes on to say that every nation shall read this book as a guide to natural healing from the continents to the poles. This is a call for planetary healing and purification. A goal resurrection is mandatory if we are going to continue to thrive on Earth. So say this is a call to United Nations, to the communities of the world. This is a call to our leaders, political, spiritual, educational, business, and artistic, who have even a greater responsibility to purify, lest the people be led to mass destruction. It says, we have come into the age when our cleansing is most urgent, right here, right now. According to how we disrespect or respect nature and our body temples, we will experience total devastation and destruction, or total enlightenment and resurrection. From the global to the personal, there is evidence that the necessity for the purification of the heart, mind, and body temple is at an all-time high. Okay. So basically, this book is most recommended. I strongly recommend this book because, again, you really learn a lot more about meditation and practicing yoga. And she got plenty other books out there. So look up Queen Afua's books. So one of her best-selling books was called Sacred Woman, A Guide to Healing the Feminine Body, Mind, and Spirit. All right. And here's another one. So I got 2 volumes of this book right here. I got 2 of them actually. This one is called The Hood Health Handbook by Seabest A Life of Law and Supreme Understanding. So I strongly recommend this book as a beginning start, especially for those of us that's in the hood. We need to start reading this book right here because this is where you can get a lot of information and it's very beneficial, right? And I want to share something with y'all, man. In this book, right? I want to read the part where it says setting wellness goals by King Divine Allah. It says, many times when we hear the term wellness, we automatically relate it to physical health achievable through diet and exercise. However, wellness encompasses much more than physical fitness. It also includes mental wellness, emotional wellness, and social wellness, or the way in which we relate to others and the environments, right? So all of these areas are interconnected and essential to overall health and well-being. When setting goals is great, keep in mind certain factors can play a role in you obtain your goals. It can be useful in your if you follow the SMART, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely guidelines. Ask specific question: what do I want to accomplish? Where will I do it? When will I do it? How will I do it? Do I need help to accomplish my goals? Right. So that's an important thing. So not just having meditation, but also trying to set goals in your life that is going to get you far along. So you may not accomplish all your goals, but you're doing a little something to get you there, right? So it says when setting goals, it's really important to think of what action that you need to change. Everyone has room for improvement, so we all have things about ourselves that we can change. Many may feel that they are good and look to their genes as a way of justification. These individuals may only recognize all the elderly relatives who ate this and did that, but often forget about the many relatives that died from chronic illness such as cancer, hypertension, and diabetes. Again, get this book right here, okay? Hood Health, Volume 1 by Seabest, A Life of Law, and Supreme Understanding. This this is a great book. hmm So I strongly recommend it. And this is the part 2. The Hood Health. The Hood, was it the Hood Health Handbook, a practical guide to health and wellness in the urban community, right? And this is the part 2 of it. So it's a continuation. So in this book, it talks about meditation. And it says, what is depression? So it gets into meditation and depression, right? So this session, it says Meditation, A Path to Inner Freedom by Jamil Suleiman. So he goes on to say meditation is a method of regaining full control of your mind no matter where you are in life. Meditation is about gaining full control of your mind regardless of where you are in life. So when you gain full control of your mind, nothing else can have that control over you. Man, powerful, right? So it says meditation and depression. So what is depression? Depression is usually defined as a state of chronic sadness or sorrow at a low to high grade that lasts for at least 3 to 4 weeks. With this definition, it makes it easy for your local psychiatrist to diagnose you as a depressed person and offer you some handy pills that might help you out in their wallet. However, do these pharmaceutical medication actually cure the problem at the root or simply mask the symptoms? So it goes on to say that meditation has been discussed a lot lately, especially in New Age circles. However, meditation has been around for eons and has been passed down by indigenous and original people for just as long. Simply define meditation is being aware of the thoughts and emotion, your inner environment, and observing it without judging it or using your mind to label it. Is being present as the watcher or of this inner environment. This was one of the original prescription for depression, anxiety, and other mental agitation, and studies are now proving that not only does it work, it may work more effectively in the long term than prescription medication. To be clear, the absolutely best form of therapy is one where you reflect on yourself and discover yourself, why you do what you do and why you are the way you are. From there, truth, growth, and transformation can begin. All right. So, not to go any further, but please get this book. All right. It's like an encyclopedia, but it's a great start. Now, there's some things in there that might be a little disagreeable, but at the same time, this is a great start. These books right here. Okay, so I'm gonna post it up for you. So make sure you guys purchase the book online. You can go on Supreme Design Publishing, right? You can go on their website, or you can get it on Amazon. Okay. All right. So, anyways, that's all I have to say for today. And I appreciate those of you who tune in and watch. I appreciate you guys that have supported my channel. So please be safe. Yeah, so you guys, thank you so much, and please be safe. Until then, may peace and power elevation be to all of you. This your girl Tiffany, and enjoy y'all New Year's, and just try to stay focused as much as possible. Do not drink as much, do not smoke as much, refrain from a lot of that stuff if you can, okay? And put yourself first. Put yourself first, because that's all you have is your health. Your health is your wealth, and nothing else matters. Money will not matter. I mean, money does matter, but it doesn't matter as much as your health. Okay? That's your priority. So make that your goal. So if you're going to talk about New Year resolution, your New Year resolution should be your health. That's your New Year resolution. Your health is your primary wealth. Okay? Period. All right, y'all take it easy. Peace and power elevation. Until next time, deuces, and we'll talk later. All right.